Let me know so I can readjust. Give it. That's why they don't talk about this. We kind of make them kind of like kick them off. We came in here like Bill came back on that difference.
James, you're doing great.
Like combat and stuff. It's like a sport. All right, well, the thing is, I get all right, hey, we're going to get ready to start. We have a sign for a minute for libations. And we want to give libations to all the respect in the school because one day they're going to call your name. So today we're going to start with what the Creator started with. We're going to start with mother. First one through the problem of darkness to bring life to us. We're going to start with mother. Ashe? Ashe. Now we want to give honor and respect to some of mother's children. Ashe? Ashe. The twice who were do so much about nature, they was considered God. Ashe? Ashe. The Chaldeans, those master astronomers. Ashe? Ashe. The Typhonia, the master pyramid builders. Ashe? Ashe. Let's talk about some of mother's daughters. First off, we want to start with Aset, the personification of being beautiful, black, and brilliant. Ashe? Ashe. Teki, Nedvik, Shasette. These sisters gave us longitude and latitude. Now they call you a sister with attitude, and for that I apologize. Ashe? Ashe. Today we're here to honor those warriors. But before we honor those warriors, we want to honor all mama's children. The Dinkas, the Shillers, the Noor, the Bantu. Ashe? Ashe. One day they found themselves under control of a gun, marched from the inland areas to the Atlantic shore to be taken into bondage, followed by the unchained children that walked into bondage. Ashe? Ashe. Who at the last minute on the continent put sand and dirt in their mouth because they know it might be the only thing that I could give my kids to remember the continent vibe. Ashe? Ashe. At this point, we want to name those names that you came to love and that you came to know in history, just say the names, Ashe. Dr. Ben for giving us an understanding of Tarzan, Jane, and Mammy. Ashe.
Malcolm X.
Ashe.
Roland Freedom and Ronald Freedom.
Ashe.
Fred Hampton.
Ashe.
Wayne Falk.
Ashe.
Tommy Lewis.
Ashe.
Virgin J. West.
Ashe.
George Lester Jackson.
Ashe.
Nat Turner.
Ashe.
Jonathan P. Jackson.
Ashe.
Nat Turner.
Ashe. At this point, if you're comfortable with it, the people that's no longer here but made it possible for you to be here, people in your bloodline, people in your family, we don't want to look over nobody. We bring them all to the party. Ashe. Let's see those names.
Grover McCarthy.
Ashe.
Welton Ward.
Ashe.
Wilhelmina Alberta Blanche Breastplate McCarthy.
All of that. Ashe.
Yvonne James.
Ashe.
Harold Welton Sr.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
James Lawrence.
Now we want to talk about some of these African blood defendants. Now, we want to talk about, the beautiful thing about this and what we're doing about honoring them is honoring ourselves and honoring our children. The most important thing we can do is this libation, because at one point, everybody in here name is going to be called. So we give this all the respect that it's due. At this point, let's start with the people that put the R in revolution. Some of those brothers out of Haiti, Mackendall. The brother was so smart and so astute. We've always been one with nature. The brother taught him how to poison 6,000 slave masters. Ashe. Two sons, Dessalines, who made every soldier in his army vow to never give up the fight, never go into bondage, and to track those down that put his people in the bondage. Ashe. The modern day, while we're here today, we're going to talk about some of these brothers who are here today. I remember one time, George Jackson said these words. He said, I don't want to leave my bones on these hills, but if it's that, other than taking the things away from me to make me a man, make me walk this earth head unbowed, the hills can have my bones. Ashe. This laughter is not a libation, but an affirmation for our children, and our children's children, that witness of people walk out of the civil rights area, walk out of Jim Crow, to one day they stood and said, stop, no more, no more. It became SNCC, the Black Panther Party. Ashe. I want to take a minute to speak to you about our youth. We have an obligation to bring them into the next season. And unfortunately, we've came up short. And I'm just being honest.
Harold, your drink is
We can
ready.
do better when it comes to our children. We can do better. We serve our children up to Wall Street, these hair shrinkers over culture makers, manipulated emotion, manufactured fears, and all they ever needed was us. Just us. Just us. We have 30,000 kids in the system, which is next to me. I know people living in their house by themselves, 3 or 4 bedrooms, talking about they bad. My kids are bad, your kids are bad, they all bad. Until we give honor and principles. This is why we're here. We have an obligation. We have to plant that seed, even though we're not going to be here to enjoy the shade from the tree. We have to plant that seed. So today, I'm here to speak for them and give tongue to their wounds. Last year, we spent $1.8 trillion. And we don't have a community center in every community. And a community center is more important than you can ever imagine. We've always had that place to go. Back in slavery, it was called hush hour. We'd get under a tree. Through the civil rights area, we moved out into the church. Nice at Jay-Z's house. We can do better. They've always carved out that space for Soundboard to be successful so they can dance in front of my kids' face. Let's take Rick Ross. Rick Ross is funny. If you went to the studio right now and you said, I got 100 songs about killing dogs and abusing babies,
Harold, your drink is ready.
they said, no, we can't mess with that. But I got 100 songs about killing black men and glorifying drug dealers. Will you play that song? Well, maybe.
Talk about it.
Well,
Talk about
maybe.
it.
Let's take Rick Ross. Here's a whole song about killing black men and glorifying drug dealers. A whole song. Hundreds of them. Hundreds of them.
Clear.
One song, one line about daybreak. One line. They said, no, we can't accept that. And let me say that again. It's all right to make that song about killing black men. It's all right to make that song about glorifying drug dealers. One song, 100,000 petitions in 24 hours. We should have 1 million. We should have 1 million. Our kids are in so much stress, so much danger. We got 30,000 kids in the system. We got 4,000 going in every day. Put this in your mind. We got kids 7, 8 years old sitting in courtrooms with a white judge with a black robe, and ain't nobody black in that representative. We got to do better than that. We got to do better than that. I've got young brothers here from San Diego to Sacramento putting work in because they're companions to the forgotten. This sister right here, she was a kid that walked into Chuco Center. Now she runs Chuco Center. That's what they can do without support. Even if you ain't doing it, we got to support the ones that are doing it. We have to. Kimberly Cox. She came in, you know me. Get around. So we go to the Chuco Center. We ain't got nothing. I got you. She would have got every kid in the whole school. A kid that you know since he took his first breath, and then begin to purge. She learned some things about her grandson that he would know, because that space was safe. We have to give that space. $1,800,000,000,000, and we don't got a team post. We don't want to save the people center. We want to own the people center. We better grow up and get that grown up in the back of the eye so our kids can survive. $1.8 trillion, and we say, well, what happened to the money? We buy a lot of stuff we don't need from people we don't like to impress people we don't know. And our kids suffer. And our kids suffer. And they feel abandoned. I'm here to tell you how they feel because they tell me. It's like drowning, but you don't die. You just suffer. Every time they move, pain is a little to the left, a little to the right, always close behind. And what were we? All they ever needed was us. Just us. Of course they're going to butt who you first come through. Because in their minds, you ain't going to be there for me no way. You ain't going to be there when I need you. And most of the time, they're absolutely correct. And the thing about it, you don't got to be Wakanda. All you got to do is care. All you got to do is care. You don't have to have an African name, but we got to keep an African brain. The whole world survived and suppressed us on an African philosophy called mind, which is oneness. After the fishnets, sometimes I think the blood of our ancestors ran through my veins. We're neglecting our children. It's shameful. We just talked about Haiti. Haiti with the oil revolution. Who do you know that sent $1 or a shovel or a bucket to Haiti? That's racial treason. We're going to have to take another look at this. We're going to have to take another look at this. The children are the pride of any nation. Any nation. We have to be the fertilizer for their survival. I got brothers here from San Diego to Sacramento. Companions to the forgotten. They're my heroes and my sheroes. And I love them for that. I love them for that. I could go on and talk about our kids forever, but I want to let them speak to you. I want to let Lupita talk to you about the Chuco Center. I want Brother Charles to say some words too. I want Brother Brandon to say some words too. I'm going to say this. We can do better. And the thing about it, it ain't a DNA thing, it's a love thing. You don't have to be no parent to parent. I know kids 10 years old, been in 23, 24 foster homes. I know kids, when CPS come by, They got the room all set up. The kid was in. Their kid was in. All nice. As soon as they leave, they put the kid back in the laundry room. And we would say, well, why did they tell nobody? Because the place I was in was worse than this. Because where are we? These are our children. We never abandon our children. But when we come up short at, it's rites of passage. Rites of passage. Why do you think Jews have bar mitzvah? At 14, I'm going to tell you, hey, you're a man now. Can't wear them no cap no more. You're a man now. You're a man now. We gave the world that philosophy. You went into this hut with Harold and you come out a plumber. You went into this hut with Bernard or Harold and you know what revolution means. In Haiti's independence, the word revolution was used 10 times. 10 times. We have to do better with our children. They're waiting on us to change the world. Thank you for letting me share.
Okay, now we're going to get to our second part, which is honoring the martyrs. Before we get started, I would like us to send prayers, light, blessings, however you do it, to a comrade by the name of, most of you probably know him, G2 Siddiqui. He has been going through health issues since, I believe, February, right? January. And so send all your light prayers. G2 will be here all the time. He worked tirelessly inside the walls, maximum security, and minimum security on the outside. So send out that light prayers and acknowledgement of G2 Siddiqui. Good brother. I love that brother. He's a solid brother. We have our own little code that we have. What do we say? I'm just saying. That's my comrade. I love him. He's a good brother, solid brother, hard worker. And so, send out that, whatever you do, to G2 Siddiqui. Today is the 13th of August. January 13th, 1970, 3 prisoners in Soledad O-Wing were assassinated just after midnight. I want to call him a pig. But his name is O.P. Miller. Probably some kids named Andy Griffin. He killed Alvin Miller, W.L. Nolan, and Cleveland Edwards. The January 13th commemoration was moved up to August 13th. And by the way, Black August is not a celebration. It's not where we sit down and have barbecue. We're honoring the martyrs and the political prisoners that put in serious work. I see a lot of comrades in here that were under fire, actual bullet fire in here, and they survived. And they were political prisoners. So this is what the roots of Black August. Yeah, exercise, fast, study, etc. But again, Black August is not a celebration, it's a commemoration. You think about comrades like Jonathan P. Jackson, 17 years old, going into a courtroom armed. See, not out there banging armed. He told the people, all right, gentlemen, I'm taking over. And you think about young comrades, 3 Panthers being martyred on Adams and Montclair, all of them were under 22 years old. Including Tommy Lewis, he went to Fremont until I got kicked out, and Charles Drew together. So, without any further ado, James Simmons, tribute to the martyrs.
Right on. Right on. All power to the people.
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 Free the land.
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 Free the land. Free them all.
Free them all. Free them all.
Free them all.
Free them all.
Free them all.
When we first started doing a tribute to the martyrs in 2008, I believe, at the invitation of Roland Freeman, when we were over, the Panther breakfast was held over on Crenshaw at Mama's Kitchen. we've been continuing that tradition ever since. It's part of Black August LA because it's part of our program. Because who exemplified sacrifice more than the Black Panther Party? Well, there's lots of people who did. There's lots of people who did. But they also made the enemy sacrifice. And the Black Liberation Army made the enemy sacrifice. They had to work for it. They had to work. If they're going to martyr us, well, then you might get martyred yourself.
What is this, Jasmine?
So, but we're going to start with a poem by Queen Sai, written by Assata Shakur, former Panther, Black Liberation Army, currently in exile, $2 million bounty on her head, who refuses to give in to the state. Comrade, Sai.
Good morning, everybody. Peace and blessings. This piece is called The Tradition by Assata Shakur. Can everyone hear me? Okay, this is called The Tradition by our dear sister Assata Shakur. Carry it on now.
Afterwards, I'll give you a pint of my blood, you'll be over there.
Carry it on now. Carry it on. Carry it on now. Carry it on. Carry on the tradition. There were Black people since the childhood of time who carried it on. In Ghana and Mali and Angola and Timbuktu, we carried it on. Carry on the tradition. We hid in the bush. When the slave masters came holding spear, and when the movement was right, leaped out and lanced the lifeblood of our would-be masters. We carried it on. On slave ships, hurling ourselves into oceans, slitting the throats of our captors. We took their whips and their ships. Blood flowed in the Atlantic, and it wasn't all of ours. We carried it on. Fed Missy arsenic, apple pies, stole the axes from the sheds, went and chopped off the master's head. We ran, we fought, we organized, and a railroad, an underground. We carried it on. In the newspapers, in meetings, in arguments, and in the streets, we carried it on. In tales told to children, in chants and cantatas,
Change orders, ready.
in poems, in blue songs, in saxophone screams, we carried it on. In classrooms, in churches, in courtrooms, in prisons, we carried it on. On soapboxes and picket lines, welfare lines, unemployment lines, our lives on the line. We carried it on. In sit-ins and pray-ins and march-ins and dine-ins, we carried it on. On cold Mississippi midnights, pitting shotguns against lynch mobs and burning Brooklyn streets, pitting rocks against rifles, we carried it on. Against water hoses and bulldogs, against nightsticks and bullets, against tanks and tear gas, needles and nooses, bombs and birth control. We carried it on. In Selma, in San Juan, Mozambique, Mississippi, in Brazil, in Boston, we carried it on. Through the lies, the sellouts, the mistakes, and the madness, through the pain and hunger and frustration, we carried it on. Carried on the tradition. Carried on a strong tradition. Carried on a proud tradition. Carried a Black tradition. Carry it on. Pass it down to the children. Pass it down. Carry it on. Carry it on now. Carry it on to freedom.
Right on.
members of the Black Panther Party and the struggle for liberation for black people, that's the only manifestation. That's not the only manifestation. There are people in exile, like Asada Shakur. There are people who were in prison. And there are several people here who were political prisoners, who were in prison for their activity, sometimes for their thoughts, sometimes for their actions. And so this is a time to recognize some of those people. So for the Harold Taylor, if you could stand up. Anybody else here who's locked up? I know some people can't be here. Some people have left us. Some people just can't get out of bed. But this tradition of this country of locking up people and calling them common criminals, people like Rochelle McGee, who was in prison for how long? 67 years. He wasn't convicted of murder. He didn't kill anybody, but they locked him up for 67 years. Just now got released. That's a victory, and we have to count our victories. Mutulu Shakur, citizen of the Republic of New Africa, member of the Black Liberation Army, who helped free Asada. They kept him in prison. They didn't want to let him go for anything. In fact, one of the reasons they kept him in is because he made a phone call to Cal State Northridge. A phone call. He wasn't talking about rebelling. He was talking about students doing well so they could come out and be productive and positive members of the community. And they kept him in. They kept him in until he was almost dead. Thank goodness he spent at least about half a year out alive. But he was a political leader. Lawrence Powell, not Lawrence Powell, LT, identified as a member of the Black Guerrilla family because he won't bow there keeping him in. Yet those people who have been in prison, and this is a test I give my students as I'm a professor. If we look back on political prisoners, it wasn't just the Black Panther Party. Who was it? The most famous political prisoner this country has ever seen was who? Martin Luther King Jr. He was a political prisoner. He was a political prisoner. All those members of SNCC, SCLC, those people, those working people who refused to accept segregation and were in prison. Those were political prisoners. Fannie Lou Hamer was tortured in prison. We have a whole list of people. And we can't name them all, but all keep them in your thoughts. We have people in exile, we have people who are political prisoners, and we have people who are killed. So I want to and Comrade Harold mentioned to me, there was a member of the Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army, who was never captured. Died a natural death. What was the name?
Alan Carroll.
Alan Carroll?
Yeah, AC, we call him AC, that was Alan Carroll.
Alan?
He goes to Oklahoma Thursday night. I talked to him 2 hours later.
So there are victims. There are people going to the underground, don't come out. So what I'm going to do is this is a breakfast for the Black Panther Party. And I want to name members of the Black Panther Party, the Black Liberation Army, and others who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Didn't come out of this alive. Who carried on the tradition. And Sister Fia had pointed out, you know what? We can't just keep going into this talking about who died. But we have to talk about the ones who died. We can't just talk about it. We have to talk about our victims. We have to talk about what people can do on every level. But we have to pay homage to those who gave that sacrifice. Arthur Morris, member of the Southern California chapter of the Black Panther Party. Bobby Hutton, Lil Bobby Hutton, one of the founders who was there at the beginning of the Black Panther Party. You know, Steve Bartholomew, Robert Lawrence, and Tommy Lewis, members of the Southern California chapter of the Black Panther Party. Nathaniel Clark, Southern California chapter of the Black Panther Party. Welton Armstead, Seattle, Washington branch. Sidney Miller, also Seattle. Frank Diggs, Southern California chapter. Al Prentice Bunchy Carter. What do they call him? The mayor of what? Or mayor together. Murdered in a FBI, LAPD inspired plot, pushing people to kill one another in the movement. John Jerome Huggins, who was killed along with Bunchy Carter at Campbell Hall in UCLA. Alex Rackett, New York chapter, Harlem branch, Black Panther Party. John Savage, San Diego, California. Larry Roberson,
Illinois chapter.
there you go. Walter Teray Pope, LA chapter.
Yes.
Spurgeon Winters,
Illinois chapter.
Mark Clark,
Peoria.
who was assassinated along with Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton,
Right on.
Sterling Jones, Chicago, Illinois. Jonathan Jackson, and along with him on the same mission was who? William Christmas and James McClain. Carl Hammond, Houston, Texas, of the People's Party. Fred Bennett, Oakland. Ralph Featherstone and Che Payne.
Yes, sir. Nick.
Stick, killed in a car bomb. Babatunde X. Omowale.
Illinois chapter.
Illinois and Southern California have a lot of representation on this. Robert Webb. Sam Napier. Comrade George Jackson. Harold Russell, Black Liberation Army. Sandra Pratt. Frank Fields. Frank Pettifield. Black Liberation Army. Ronald Carter, Black Liberation Army. Joseph Waddell, North Carolina. Anthony White, the Black Liberation Army, also known as Kimu Olugbala, the Olugbala tribe of the Black Liberation Army. Martin Essex, Zaid Malik Shakur, who was killed when they captured the Sada Shakur. Wyatt Myers, Alfred Butler, Timothy Kambozi Amstein, killed in Norfolk, Virginia. Timothy Adams, Melvin Kearney. John Clark. Imtiari Shabaka Sundia. This is just a partial list. We could be here all day.
Melvin X.
Huh?
Melvin X.
Melvin X. And if you know the name that we miss and you think it's important, speak their name.
Chip Fitzgerald.
Chip Fitzgerald.
Chip Fitzgerald. Even from the breakfast. People who come to the breakfast, people who are
Gene, your
engaged in
drink
this
is
struggle,
ready.
who would be seated here if they had not gone on and transitioned to another point.
We mentioned our friends, Point Carter.
Yes.
Jane, your drink is ready.
Roland and Ronald Freeman. Deacon Alexander. Deacon Alexander? Is he gone?
His brother. What's his brother's name?
Frank.
Franklin.
My side Hewitt.
Oh, yeah.
No, we go.
I don't know, but I heard that my side trained a whole bunch of people. Is that right?
Education contract.
Yeah.
Right on.
Educated a lot of folks. Michael Zinson.
Yeah.
Marcus Lewis.
There's a comrade of mine named Donald B.C.
Donald B.C. Crump. Donald Cox.
Preachers more.
Peach.
Oh, yeah.
Samaya. Sister Samaya. Who was a rebel till she left. She would walk right past the police with her teeth, with her medicinal cookies. And they would snatch them away. They would come raid her house, pull up all the plants, and she would get them back. Amazing. Amazing woman. Amazing power. What's that? Joe Hill. Yusef. He would be here if he was here.
Jerome, your drink is ready.
Little Joe.
Little Joe.
Little Joe Jackson. He wasn't little.
Johnson.
But a rebel to his heart. Who do we miss? If there's no one else, who?
There's always one. Doc Satchel. Doc Satchel. Illinois chapter.
Doc Saxon?
Yes, Doc Satchel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wayne Barr.
Wayne Barr.
D.C. Cox.
D.C. Cox.
Oh, yeah. Represent.
Fred Kennedy.
Read that. I think you read it. We have so many people who have left. Chokwe Lumumba, who was an attorney that people consider themselves revolutionary attorneys should study. They had bounties on his head. They had fugitive warrants out for him. He never broke. Ran and won as a revolutionary black nationalist for mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. Represented Panthers, represented political prisoners. So, the words of Marcus Garvey, before he left us the words, look for me in the world. Look for me in the world. And along with all the Africans who died, so we can carry the struggle on, carry the fight on. And so when we talk about Truco's Justice Center, and we talk about the youth that Brother Kemet is organizing, let's keep in mind, we're not going to be here forever. We got to pass it on. And so they can carry it on. They can carry on the struggle to freedom. All power to the people.
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 Free them all.
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 Damn right. Okay, we talked about the
represented you in Great Road in 1971. 6th Council Temporary Police Department here in Los Angeles. I'll be here in the car along with John Bowman. John Bowman is no longer here. Carol is here. She turned 90 years old this year.
All right. All right. Okay.
And this is another brother, Ray Boudreau. Apparently he was too shy to was captured with others in the San Francisco 8 case, where the charges were based on statements extracted by torture. And it was dismissed, and they brought it up again. They brought it up again, and ultimately, they had to tap out. The government had to tap out. So, again, we have legends here. We have legends here. We have workers here. We have political prisoners here. Spend the time to talk to them. Also, before I go, Black August Los Angeles has a Martyrs tour.
Right.
And the Martyrs tour will be held August 26th, coming out of Chuco's, leaving from Chuco's Justice Center at 10 o'clock?
Yes.
10 o'clock.
10:30.
10:30. But you people, please get there on time.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll be chasing the bus. We don't want you to chase the bus.
Could you say the address?
Yeah, it's on 7625 South Central. It's legit on 76 and Central. Either way, place or street.
And we visit places where people have sacrificed. Sometimes these comrades who've been through it, who can describe sitting in a car with a hail of bullets flying at them. When Wayne Farr was here, we were at the Black Panther Party office. He described what happened when they busted in and he let loose with a shotgun and drove them back. So please, I have a sign-up sheet, and thank you for your attention. All power to the people. And we're not going to charge you, but you can give a love out for the tour. And this is something we've been doing for how long?
Since 2012.
Since 2012. And again, this is a tradition we want to carry on.
All right, thank you, James. God bless. All right. Also, one of the members in the 41st Central Office that defended the black community December 8, 1969, Bernard Arafat, right here. Bernard was just 17 years old. 17 years old. So, yeah, struggle is real. Now that we got a full house, I'm going to mention this again. Michelle McGee is at home. Where's Leon? Where's Leon? Leon? You back to me. There he is. All right. Leon and I got to visit Michelle. We didn't announce it to the world. We think about Michelle. We got to visit the brother, comrade, yesterday. One was struck out at me after 26 years. This brother is funny. He got your camera. He had Leon. Somebody tap Leon. He had Leon and his cousins. He had 1 2-year-old, terrible 2-year-old. Every time she came in the room, Michelle would be laughing because she would be doing crazy 2-year-old stuff, and he would laugh. He's sharp mentally. When Leon was mentioning different people that were in the first coalition of Free Michelle McGee, and he remembered everybody. He remembers names, and he told me, he said, he took everything from me in prison, except my hair, and he looks good. Then also, we're going into a radio silence. I have been in a radio silence since Thursday, because our lawyer, Michelle's lawyer, does not want us to do TV, radio, whatever commentary about Michelle, because there's another issue, not going back to prison, but there's another issue that has to be dealt with. So he told us to make absolutely sure that we don't talk about addresses, profile. I saw this morning, not gonna name names, somebody put a picture up of Michelle at home with some of his people, you know. We in the coalition of Free Michelle McGee, we knew that he was going to be freed as early as May this year. Before we could breathe, you got people calling us. I heard Michelle is at home, and we're thinking about the most high-profile prisoner in a California concentration camp, Michelle McGee. So we think about that often. So we're not going to talk a lot about it. But if you see stuff up, no, it ain't from us. Now when we talk about the youth, PSL. I see some of the PSL members, the youngsters, and I say that respectfully, the youth. Man, they did tremendous work as part of the coalition of Free Michelle McGee. Right on! We needed them. When we old, they knew how to master their computer graphics and this and that. This is how we're going to make the web page. I mean, they had it. The petition sites we had. And they got good news and good facts. Yeah. Yeah, the rallies we had, they were on. And they're very knowledgeable. And I want to also, some people think that, I'm talking about Black Lives Matter grassroots. I'm talking about Black Lives Matter international. In particular, Melina Abdullah. She helped us and Black Lives Matter grassroots tremendously. There was a poster, a billboard of Michelle about a block from here. We asked her, help, put it up for the people, right? And that billboard was up for 4 months. That was possible through Melina Abdullah and Black Lives Matter grassroots. I ain't trying to help that little petty madness. We're trying to get this brother out for 67 years. We said we had to do 3 different type of petitions, right? And we asked them to help. They went right into work. We went up to about 43,000 petitions. That's not including letters that were sent to this man, this governor. Maybe I can talk about it now. And parole board, DAs. We talked to the lawyer Thursday. We had a conference call with him. There's some other issues, like I said. So if you don't hear from us, that's why. We're trying to deal with another issue. Again, Comrade, man, it was an honor seeing Comrade. He looks good. His memory is good. And like I said, man, Leon, remember when his the two-year-old cousin came in and was acting up? And Rochelle, man, he kept up. He was laughing uncontrolled. Finally on Rochelle. He had to go down some stairs, right? So Rochelle, no, I don't need no help. Rochelle got that stairs and he was coming down sideways. He did it. And then when we got back from where we went, he went back up those stairs the same way. So beautiful personality, sense of humor, very knowledgeable. Don't try to test his memory. Okay. All right. So now we got the 2 minute. Okay, we're having somebody answer their phone. Or get a flip phone like me. But
Somebody answer the phone.
we you ought to get a flip phone like me and get clowned by your kids and grandkids. We're gonna add the 2 minutes. That means 2 minutes. James used to have a stopwatch. You still got a stopwatch? 2 minutes. Announcements, you know. Okay. Just let us know. And we still have work to do. We still have other political prisoners. That's why the call Freedom Hall is still out. All right?
So I yield some of my time back for the Peter, Travis out of San Diego. We got brothers from up north and Kittle. Oh man, so how we got one to go? Brother Mike, we have something. Oh yeah, we have one. We start with Mike and then we're going to the group.
What's up, y'all?
Oh,
yeah. I got to tell you on something that happened last year. 51 years ago, a group of what were called untouchables, now called Dalits, learned about the existence of the Black Panther Party. And they decided to start their own version. But they never had any Panthers come and visit them in India. So last June, myself, Hank Gaddis, also from the Illinois chapter, and a young brother who wrote, Jacoby Williams, who wrote a book about the Illinois chapter, we went to this amazing event. I'm talking amazing. I got some of y'all have seen the pictures. I gotta be glad to share them with you. There were 2,000 people at this event. When we walked to the auditorium, now we're in India. There's posters of Fred Hampton, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Malcolm X, Paul Robeson. All right? And when we say right on, they say Jerry Boom. And they was J-Bimming the snot out of themselves in that event. It was absolutely amazing. Last tidbit, when I went to the 60th anniversary, the international panel had Panthers from Australia, from what's the country? New Zealand. All these folks who have been influenced by the Black Panther all over the world. Just about every country in South Africa has some knowledge of the Black Panther Party. I know because I said it to them. We beyond that, and a bag of blue corn chips, organic. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Oh, by the way, my brother here who did this, he did this paper. I met him decades ago. Y'all know my car with all the bumper stickers? Yeah. I was getting some bumper stickers. He was selling bumper stickers over at that little car. And I mentioned I was in the Black Panther Party. He said, Panthers don't pay for bumper stickers. Give it up for my man, Jay. I allocated 2 minutes. This one of these because I ran out. This, if you don't, you get this. I have the current program here. So we'll do what we can. This will have to be but basically what we'll do. So this was created back in the late 80s when we was doing some collaboration between some